Welcome everyone to the weekly Ubuntu Community Team Q&A. Today with a bit of delay because of technical difficulties, but no worries. We're back with the space for all of your questions and to explain you what's been going on during the week in the Ubuntu community world. I'm David Planella from the Ubuntu community team at Canonical, and today I'm joined by my colleague and friend Alan Pope, also from the community team at Canonical.
Hello.
Hello. And as usual, for those of you who are not familiar with this format, if it's the first time that you're participating, once you go to ubuntuner.com, you'll see a chat widget where you can just enter, no login required, and you'll end up in an IRC window. And there you can ask your question. Just remember to prefix them with question in capital letters so that we see them and we can spot them, and we'll go through them as soon as we can. If there's anything on IRC, if you want to ping us, I'm TPM on IRC, and Alan is Poppy, also on IRC, on the #ubuntu-on-r on Freenode. Okay, so as the usual, sorry, I was just reading IRC to see if people were seeing and hearing us. Okay, so if anyone could confirm that, that'd be helpful. But in the meantime, we can start with the regular weekly update of what's been happening. I was thinking perhaps, Alan, since we've got some new cool features on core apps, especially with Doc Viewer, perhaps we could start with that. I guess that was a yes. You're muted right now.
It's once I finally find the tab that I need to click the button. Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of things. We've been recruiting a few additional people to help with the doc viewer, as we're always doing. We're trying to recruit people to help us with all of the core apps. But the doc viewer has a little bit of focus at the moment because there's some new features we'd like to add to it. It's called the doc viewer, and you forgive them for thinking it could open documents, and it can open PDFs and text files, and there's a limited set of formats it can read. But what we'd really like to do is expand that functionality so that it could be a general purpose office viewer. We've looked at this in the past and we've looked at things, but what we want to do now is integrate LibreOffice with it, because, well, we think that's probably the best way for us to get the ability to open basically every file format that LibreOffice supports in a document viewer. So what we've done is we've pulled in a few additional people. More people are always welcome to help, including LibreOffice experts and C++ experts. So the goal of this is that on your Ubuntu phone or converged device in the future, you should be able to receive an email that contains an attachment and detach that and view it in document viewer, exactly as you'd expect. And we want to initially limit that to a small subset of features. So we're probably not going to support things like the LibreOffice-based database, and we're probably not going to initially look at opening spreadsheets. We'll probably start small and work up from there. So initially, being able to open documents, so docs and various file formats that LibreOffice supports that are documents. And then, once we get that working and it's robust and we can render those properly, then we'll look at doing things like presentations with LibreOffice Impress and maybe spreadsheets in the future and others. So, if you want to help out, that would be great. We have a meeting on IRC every Friday at 1500 UTC. Just ping me on IRC if you want to get involved. that would be really awesome. And I think that's everything I wanted to mention. Anything I missed there, David?
No, I think that was pretty much. I mean, as usual, we've got always really nice updates from the core apps team. So good work everyone, essentially.
There's one other thing I want to mention actually as well, and that's the calendar. The calendar has been around a long time, and it's currently getting some design love from the design teams. It's going to get a bit of a redesign to bring it in line with our new design patterns that you'll probably recognize if you look in Deco, the email client. There's a lot of the new design patterns appearing there first, and they're being adopted by some of the other apps. So Calendar's getting a bit of a redesign, in addition to which there are some critical bugs that we see as important before it becomes a real high quality first class application or thing. And so we're endeavoring to get all those bugs fixed. And that includes things like making sync more robust so that synchronizing your calendars is reliable. And secondly, being able to synchronize more than just your default calendar. At the moment, it only synchronizes your default Google Calendar. And we'd like to be able to synchronize multiple calendars because a lot of people these days have more than one calendar. So that makes sense. There are lots of other features we'd love to put in the calendar. Like at the moment, it only synchronizes to Google. We'd love to be able to synchronize to other places and add all kinds of other cool things like iCal support and so on. That's in progress. But if there's anything you particularly want to see in the calendar, and you have QML skills, or you know a bit about EDS or other types of calendaring backends, then let me know, and you can get involved, because it's one of those critical apps that we want to see shine, and we'd love to have more community involvement. As with all the core apps, they're community maintained software, tool free software. It's it's all available on Launchpad, and if you want to dive in, then feel free to do that. But if you want to be given a task to do, then let me know, and I'll find something for you to do.
Cool. All right. Mike Howell was asking me to stop typing, so I'll stop doing that, and I think I'll just get to the first question.
Yeah, so, I keep lunging to the mute button when I hear your keyboard.
Sorry, I thought I was muted. Anyway, so Gallian J has got a question. Oh, sorry. Did I miss? Oh, yeah. So Gallian G has a question. What shall we expect in the next OTA updates next month for the phone? Oh, that's a really broad question. Let me point you to something. And while I'm doing this, so I mean, other than bug fixes, I'd have to check myself exactly what the highlights are. I'm going to paste a link on IRC for those of you who are in there. That should give you an overview of the milestones and exactly what we're targeting for the next fix on OTA 5. And for those of you not familiar with what OTA means, that's the on-the-air update for Ubuntu phones. The current one that's being planned is OTA 5, meaning it's the fifth one since the release, and yes, that's planned for next month. So essentially, you can see all of the bugs listed on. Oh yeah, probably already sent a link on IRC. If you click on that particular release, you'll see all of the bugs that are targeted. Looking at those, one of them that caught my eye is in line with what Poppy was mentioning earlier on about Calendar, the work that's going on in there, is that we're planning to install Calendar by default on the next OTA.
That depends basically on some of those other bugs being fixed. So that may not happen. It's kind of dependent on a lot of moving parts. But there's a bunch of other ones in there that are quite interesting that we've had a lot of feedback about. Like there's a bug at the top of the list about the headphone volume, going screwy, which is kind of offensive to people if you're, plugging in and listening to music. You don't really want your ears blasted, so that's kind of annoying. And there's other more subtle things like LED notifications, and there's important ones for a lot of people who are on the move when GPS stops working when Wi-Fi is enabled and stuff like that. Stuff that would really annoy someone who's using their phone on a daily basis. There's another one I saw about car Bluetooth. We see that reported a lot, that people like to use their phone in the car, and in order to be safe in the car, they want to connect to their car stereo with Bluetooth so that they can have a conversation while they're driving without holding the phone. And there's been some bugs reported around that. But this list that we posted is a guideline, and quite often, if we don't get bugs fixed in time for whatever reason, the developers can't fix it in time for the deadline, then we will often bump them to the next OTA. So it's the link that David gave, where it's a link to the for those who are not following along on IRC, the project name is Canonical Devices System Image. So if you just look on Launchpad for Canonical Devices System Image, there's a whole bunch of milestones. And the format is the week number followed by the year. So this week is week 27, and the goal is that next week, week 28, is OTA 5. So there's 44 bugs targeted to that. But yeah, chances are some of those will get bumped, especially the ones that are really low priority, of which actually there aren't any low. There's one wish list, which is allow users to create wireless hotspots on their device. But yeah, we get a lot of bugs reported, and we can't do them all the time.
Yeah, and I think I would pick that one as well as highlight as well. This was one where we got lots of requests. Also another one that I'm seeing there, allow apps to keep the screen on. That's another request that we get repeatedly from developers. So I'd say stay tuned as well. As Alan is saying, you can use this as a guideline. You can see very transparently what we're targeting, the status of them. And then what we generally do once we release an OTA is that we send a high-level description on insights.ubuntu.com on what actually was fixed. But you can always go back to the milestone, and then you can see what's been marked as fixed release is something that got into that OTA. And by the way, someone was correcting me on IRC. Seem to have mentioned that OTA was on the air. It's not. It's over the air update. So thanks a lot for the correction.
The other thing that's that I find interesting is that I often get people pinging me on the phone or Telegram or an IRC and say, hey, how do you guys not know that this major thing that's important to me is broken? Like, for example, the car Bluetooth thing. Yeah, that's important to some people. And, some people get very cross with us because those things aren't fixed yet. And, why have you not fixed this thing that is tremendously important to me and I use every day? And, well, look at that list and you'll see there's a whole bunch of other bugs, in and around it that have a similar priority. And they all take, time from the developers to fix. But the good news is all that stuff that you're seeing listed on that page, they're all Launchpad projects. They're all code that's hosted in Launchpad. It's all free software. If you really wanted to, without wishing to invoke the, patches welcome retort, get involved. If you really want to see something fixed, take a look at the code and join in the IRC channels, Ubuntu App Devel and Ubuntu Touch. Talk to the people concerned. Ping us. We'll put you in touch with the right people. And you can help us make the platform better.
Cool. All right. So next question from Nanek. Will it be possible to connect the Ubuntu phone and an Ubuntu phone with an Ubuntu PC or laptop over Bluetooth to receive notifications, etc., from the phone? I'm not that familiar with the Bluetooth stack. I mean, the plan for convergence is that you'll be able to connect a device to a monitor. Sorry, a phone device to a monitor and and keyboard, and that will act as your main PC. In terms of sending over notifications to another laptop, I'm not too sure. Mike Hall seems to mention on IRC that it will be possible, but it's in the development branch, but not yet in trunk. Perhaps, Bobby, do you have more insight on this?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, we might want to actually.
Oh no, that's Mike's answering a different question. So I don't know of that. I know there's we've talked about this before, that the KDE project have a tool that does this kind of thing, KDE Connect, I think it's called, that lets you see notifications that appear on your Android device on your Ubuntu or KDE running desktop. Yeah, that would be cool. Similar kind of thing. I don't think anyone's working on that right now for Ubuntu phone. You know, it's one of those. You know, it's, if you look at that list of bugs that David pointed to, you know, the fact that you can't stop apps from suspending and the audio going away, or you know, Bluetooth doesn't work reliably with cars, or you know, GPS is disabled when on Wi-Fi. These kind of things are, you know, super high priority, critical things that need to get fixed. And something like, you know, syncing your notifications to another device would probably be seen as a nice to have wish list. You know, medium to low priority, get that done when we can. That's the way I see it. Is, you know, there are probably just greater priorities right now, but it's something I'm sure that would be great to see.
Okay, so next one again from Galeam J. According to OMG Ubuntu, Unity 8 desktop should support a slick 3D task switcher. Is this true? Yes, it is. I mean, the thing.
OMG Ubuntu wouldn't lie to us.
So, well, I mean, what we cannot say if this is going to be the final implementation, because it's right now under development. The source for the article on OMG Ubuntu was a video that community member created, Popescu Sorin, where he managed to get the development branch, build it from source, and then get it running as a preview and as a teaser to each one of us, essentially. So yeah, we will have that. That will be the final implementation. I'm not sure. This still needs to go through QA, needs to go through design review, and then land into trunk.
I love the way that you know, when you compare this to like other phone platforms like Windows or Android or iOS, where you know, a leak or a teaser or something comes from a, you know, an illicit photo taken in an office somewhere, or you know, from an FCC approval website or something like that. Ours is people got the source code, built it, and run it. That's how they get their. That's how they get their inside information. Is the source code happens to be there and they got it and built it. I love that. Brilliant. And it's great because I didn't even know about that, and you know, that's the first time I'd seen it in action, was when a community member builds it and shows it to us. That's great. I love that. More of that, please.
I was actually looking for it when Alan and I were testing the Unity 8 session in the last few weeks, and one of the things that I was looking for. All of the time I tried to go alt tab, and why is this not coming? And didn't realize that it wasn't implemented yet. So one source, well, one easy way where you can test the Unity 8 session as a preview is on the, well, there are some instructions on the Ubuntu wiki. And before I give you the link or further instructions, I should say as a disclaimer, this is just a way of testing the preview. This is not going to be the final implementation. It's just a way of comfortably testing the Unity 8 setup on your PC and using your existing session without actually upsetting that session. So if you go to wiki.ubuntu.com/unity8 in LXC, let me just find it. Yes, that's it. So if you go to, again, let me read it, wiki.ubuntu.com/unity capital U 8 in LXC, all capital letters, and I'm going to paste it on IRC. You'll find some nice instructions on how to test the Unity 8 session and see it with your own eyes, essentially.
And like you say, there's some things missing. So you know, it's not fully fleshed out, and but it's a good way to have a play with what Unity 8 looks like, you know, on any given day.
Cool. All right then. Okay. So while we're waiting for any other questions to come, there was a couple of other updates that I wanted to mention. First of all, I'd like to mention UbuCons. We've got two upcoming, actually three upcoming UbuCons coming. We've got UbuCon LA in Peru. That's going to be on the 7th and 8th of August in Lima. And we've got UbuCon Paris coming. I need to check. I think it's in November. I need to recheck. Let me see if I can find it. I'll mention it later when I find it. But yeah, other than UbuCon Paris, UbuCon LA, we've got UbuCon DE in Berlin in October, coming up as well, 23rd to 24th of October. And one exciting thing about UbuCons is not only the enthusiasm that's contagious from the organizers. These are conferences that have been organized by the community and run by the community all over the world, essentially. So one of the cool things about talking to the other organizers is seeing the initiatives that they come up with. We've got. I'm not going to reveal it here. Actually, I'll let UbuCon the organizers reveal this very soon. But we've been working with them on a really cool initiative to promote app development and to promote the UbuCon D in Berlin as well. So stay tuned to news at ubucon.de on something very, very cool that's going to happen soon. How's that for a teaser? Okay. And then other work that we've been doing either with the community or as within the canonical community team has been going on about quality. We've been working quite hard, and especially when I say we, I should probably say that's been Nicolas Kak's credit. Working on the documentation on developer.ubuntu.com and making sure that we've got a consistent testing story. Also, there's some ongoing work with an autopilot or a testing plugin on the SDK, which has been created by community member Akiva. This is scheduled to land soon. I know that yesterday they were still discussing some changes, but I'm told that it's looking pretty good. So again, expect some goodness on the SDK in terms of running your tests from Qt Creator, from the SDK itself. And other than that, on the developer side, we've been busy as well, not only on documentation, where David Kalle published a new tutorial on writing QML and C++ hybrid apps. This was one bit that was that we had missing for quite a while, so we're quite happy that we've closed that gap. We've had some updates on the scope aggregator documentation, and we've got some infrastructure work coming on as well. One of the things we're working on this week is on the translations dashboard. The developer.ubuntu.com site is available right now in Chinese and in English. And we wanted to make sure that Chinese translators had an easy way to keep track of the translations that needed updating or needed doing. So this is something that we're planning to finish this week and probably land next week. Also on the Snappy side of things, we're doing some work to get some data from the store, from the Snap store, so that we can show the community and production boards. Essentially, this is a way of showing for which board there's a Snappy port available. So we want to make sure that we can show that on the developer side for users to know where they can get support for which boards they can install Snappy, and also as a way to highlight the Snappy community ports that are out there. All right, I think that was pretty much it in terms of the work that we did last week. Anything that I've forgotten, perhaps, Alan?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Okay, and yeah, remember, if you've got any questions on IRC, just prepare them with question, and then we'll go to them as soon as we can.
We've got a couple. One from Steve Mugg says, "What's happening in Ubuntu TV world? When can I expect something usable?" Do you want to do that one?
Thank you, Alan. That's a very good question. Thanks for asking. I think we've answered this question a few times in the past, and I think the answer is still the same. I mean, right now, it all depends on the focus that we're putting. Right now, the focus is pretty much on the phone, and our engineering resources and design are focused on making and creating a great phone experience. Not only that, but also on a convergent experience on the desktop. So you should expect more and more development in that direction. Ubuntu TV was born at a time where we were talking with several different manufacturers, but that those agreements didn't materialize at the time. However, this is a project that's still open. We're still considering all options, but right now I'd say it's a bit in the back burner as the work on the phone is ramping up and on tablet.
I think it'll be interesting once the full HDMI output support lands for the phone images, so that you can be traveling in a hotel and get your phone out and plug the HDMI cable into the TV and just watch a film that you brought with you on your device, or stream a video from somewhere, that kind of thing. The user interface to do that and how you control that will be interesting, and something we haven't designed or looked at since the demos of Ubuntu TV nearly 2 years ago. Yeah, I think it will be revived, but maybe once we've got over the hurdle of actually getting the devices out and having support for external devices and all that kind of stuff before that will actually happen. But there's nothing stopping someone else making a spin of Ubuntu that has a TV UI. There's already Myth TV based Ubuntu images for Mythbuntu. There's nothing stopping someone taking, for example, Ubuntu Snappy Core, and then building on top of that with media frameworks, and on top of that with media playback and TV scheduling programs, and all the kind of cogs that you fit together to make a multimedia experience. I think so. And I think that would probably be, if you were going to do a community thing, that would probably be the best direction to go, because we're going to move the phones towards Snappy in the future, and we'll have desktop images based on Snappy in the future. So now's a good time to start looking at that if you were planning, some kind of community maintained Ubuntu TV style spin, for example.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I think I agree. And one thing to mention as well is that ever since we announced the Ubuntu TV project, the technologies and this, thanks to the work on the phone and thanks to the work building up on that on Snappy, have evolved in massively, I would say. So essentially, being able to do what Poppy is saying, just building on top of core and building a UI, would be much easier right now. Even if we're still doing development work on Snappy. Okay. Next question is from MJ. Why should I buy the Meizu phone now when the converged device by BQ is only a few months down the road? Good question. I'd argue you should just buy any Ubuntu device, to be honest. I think both are going to be excellent devices to run Ubuntu on, to use as your daily phone. Probably if you're needing a device right now, you might want to go for the Meizu, because it's already on the market. You can purchase it. For the BQ converged device, yes, as you're saying, it's just a few months down the road. But I think it's a matter of personal preference. I think the two are going to be excellent phones.
I guess the question was why should I buy the Meizu phone when the converged device is a few months down the road? And my answer would be because the converged device is a few months down the road. If you're not, so there's a few reasons for buying an Ubuntu phone in general. Okay, so there's supporting the project just by using your dollars to buy a phone, shows support, shows the manufacturers, shows us, shows carriers, shows interested parties that people are buying the devices, right? I did that. I bought my own Ubuntu phone. This is mine. I bought it with my own money to show support, right? Another reason why you might want to buy one is if you're a developer or an aspiring developer and you want to create apps on top of the platform, or maybe you want to contribute to the platform. Maybe you want to help fix bugs in EDS. Maybe you're a Bluetooth expert. Maybe you want to have a go at fixing network manager issues or whatever. Or maybe you want this as an open platform for you to just hack on. And those are all perfectly valid reasons for buying a phone today. You don't have to wait 3 months for a converged device. The benefit of buying the converged device further down the road is you've got the potential of using it as a desktop PC as well as a computing device in your pocket. So I guess it depends what your rationale for wanting. If it's just a toy, then yeah, sure, go and get one now. if it's you really want the converged experience, then yeah, maybe wait for the BQ device. If it's something to hack on, yeah, get the BQ or either of the BQ devices or the Meizu. They're all good fun to hack on for different reasons. End of marketing spiel.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, actually, I should say that's coming from someone who's got how many Ubuntu devices on your table, Alan?
There are four right now. Yeah, the Meizu, it's a nice phone. It's a really nice phone, and it's quite powerful. Octa-core, I think, 3 gig of RAM. That's great, and it's got plenty of room for stuff, and it's quite hackable, and you can muck around with it. Like I've monkeyed around with mine to make it so that I've got 4 icons across instead of the default 3, because I like to be able to do things like that. So if you're the kind of person who likes a hackable device, either of those is good fun.
Cool. All right, and MJ is mentioning on IRC, to clarify, I already voted the BQ core is 4.5, so.
Brilliant. Right, now you've just got to get the other two, and then you've got the full set.
Excellent. All right, then. So it seems that we don't have questions coming up today, so I'm just thinking, unless we've got another update, we can perhaps wrap it up early for today, or was there anything, Alan, that you think we should mention before we go?
No, just the usual, come and get involved, help us, make this the best thing that it can be. If you have bought one of the devices, test it to destruction, try things you wouldn't, normally expect to work, poke and prod at it, and file bugs. We've got, a massive list of bugs already, but, a few more won't hurt. And, get involved if you want to do some translation, some documentation. We've got plenty of scope for those things to be done if you're not a developer. There are people out there who are looking for help with testing their apps, or developing apps, or creating icons and all kinds of things. So there's plenty of ways in which people can get involved. You don't feel like we're not interested in contributions. We totally are. So we welcome them. We really do.
Excellent. Yeah. So we've been quite focused on the phone today, but generally, as Alan is mentioning as well, there's translations, there's non-technical contributions. In summary, if you go to community.ubuntu.com, you'll find different ways on how to get involved and how to get in touch with the different teams that are working on Ubuntu. They're all a welcoming bunch. So yeah. So essentially, I'd just say, just go and get in touch with them, and you'll enjoy it. All right, then. So I think if we wrap it up here, we'd like to say thank you to everyone who has followed us, either just watching or either asking the questions on IRC. As usual, it has been a pleasure. And well, I'd say stay tuned for the next edition next week at the same time.
Thanks, David. See you later, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.